Yes, my name is Mike Schietzelt, and I am the representative for Northern Wake County in the North Carolina General Assembly.
What brought you here today?
I was brought here to provide the keynote speech for the ILF, the NCAAC's Entrepreneurship program here. They were giving an award ceremony, and so we wanted to, specifically what brought me here today was I wanted to support our young entrepreneurs and young people who are learning a critically important skill.
Where did you hear about us?
I heard about it from Hannah Chan. So,
Okay.
yes, Hannah's been very involved in some of the same circles I'm in, and so when she reached out to my office and said, "Would you like to come and participate in this program today?" Absolutely. Like I had no hesitation on my part.
What's your current experience so far?
In what sense?
Like how we hosted it?
Oh yeah, this has been a great program. I mean, anytime you can take young people and give them an opportunity to experience something new, to struggle, to grow, to learn a new skill, especially one as important as entrepreneurialism and building. That's always going to be incredibly valuable. And to see the support that young people have, the awards that these people won. I just got to speak with one of the teams about what their idea was and how they wanted to introduce AI into the space that they were looking at. It's amazing to see what young people are coming up with, how they're responding to market needs, and more importantly though, how they are learning to build and think through the problems that we are going to face in the next 5 to 10 years. So this was a really cool experience.
Okay, now we're gonna go a little bit more personal. I know you mentioned that like you majored in music and you pursued that briefly before.
Yeah.
What made you like change that, and like what was the turning point in that like course that made you realize, oh, maybe like I wanted to be a lawyer, I want to be a politician?
So when I was a freshman in high school, I took a civics class that I absolutely loved. I participated in the mock trial program, and I thought to myself, maybe I want to be a lawyer someday. I also came from a family where most of my siblings were not going to college. Many of them didn't even graduate high school. And when I learned that law school was another 3 years, I thought to myself, there's no way I'm doing an extra 3 years of school. But I loved playing the trumpet. The trumpet kept me coming back. I graduated high school because that was the only place that I could go back every day and play music. I went to college because I wanted to learn to play music and do it better than I was already doing it. And then when I realized that music had sort of served its purpose in my life, that I wanted to do something more, and I started to get an itch to do more. I was in the Marine Corps at the time, and I was trying to think through, do I want to go back? Do I want to be a teacher? Because I love teaching. Do I want to go be a history teacher? I don't know. I had all kinds of different ideas. And one day walking through DC, it struck me. I remember 12, 13 years from when I was a freshman in high school, how much I had loved mock trial and how much I had loved civics. And I said, that's it, I've got to go to law school. And when I started to look into the process and saw how much it resonated with who I am and what I want to do, what I wanted to be, it was a no-brainer to go back and become a lawyer.
So it's never too late?
It's never too late. I was one of the oldest people in my Marine Corps basic training platoon. And then when I got out and I went to law school, I was one of the oldest people in my law school class. And I wasn't that old. I was 28 years old, but I was one of I think only about 2 or 3 people in my class who had a child at the time. I had a I had a 10-month-old when I started law school. It's never too late to go back. If there's a fire in your heart, Howard Thurman, great civil rights leader, once said, don't ask yourself what the world needs, ask yourself what makes you come alive, and go do that, because the world needs people who will come alive.
Absolutely, yes.
And do you think the past, like your trumpet experience, maybe your music career, has also helped you right now to be where you are?
Yes, in a lot of different and surprising ways. I first saw the connection when I was going into law, when our professor said, you guys are all afraid of something being ambiguous. People are going to pay you a lot of money to argue when things are ambiguous. Don't be afraid of it. And I started to make connections to music as a jazz musician. You say, well, when a chord is ambiguous, you have more room to experiment and to improvise. And so I asked him about that. I said, is this kind of what you're talking about? He says, yes, that's exactly it. But then, of course, getting used to being in front of crowds and speaking, performing, it's no different. I'd much rather talk in front of a crowd than play trumpet in front of a crowd, because at least I know the words that are going to come out of my mouth. I don't always know what's going to come out of the other end of that horn. So, it gave me the confidence to stand up and be in front of a crowd. I also say, as a legislator, it's given me a lot of perspective about what's important in education. It's not just reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's understanding the value that arts programs provide for students to thrive and become a part of a community, and the importance of things like youth in government or entrepreneurship competitions, and how those can create a pathway even for kids who are struggling. You don't usually think about a kid like me, growing up in the family that I grew up in, going out and becoming a professional musician. But that's what kept me in school. That's what got me into college. And so I'd say there's a lot of different ways that being a musician has influenced what I do, both as an attorney and as a legislator.
Okay, and to close off, is there anything you want to say to the young people, like the people participating today, or like us in the end, to like wish them maybe for their future, maybe like what they want to pursue, their dreams?
Yeah. Never be afraid to grow. Never be afraid to try something new. Never be afraid to fail, because it's in that struggle, it's in that failure that we find growth and that we learn new ways of doing things. If you have a passion in your heart to go out and build something, to build a company, to try something, to pursue a pathway, a career, there's a reason for that passion. Don't be afraid to pursue it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.